I want to make this video to explain a few things. Number one, this channel started off as a self-development channel. I always wanted to help people in that direction. Now, it may seem, due to the messages and some of the comments that I've received, that I'm against self-development, and I'm here to explain a lot of that. Now, even though it may sound like I'm against self-development, and surely in the next few videos to come, as we're going to be getting back into the People Suck series, but I've just found my middle ground. You see, a lot of people treat self-development almost as if it's almost its own religion nowadays. You see, the people that are super into self-development on that extreme side, attest to it, that it's all about the self-development books. It's all about self-development. However, you can develop yourself without ever even having to touch any of the self-development type of thing. You see, they act like, oh, it's like our way is the only way. It's like when every religion says, oh, our way is the way. Our way is the way. You see, it's almost a religion now. And so sometimes to develop yourself, you need to do the opposite. And so that's why it sounds like I'm against self-development. However, no, I'm not. But the big group type of self-development, as we're going to be getting into soon, I'm not too in favor for. I've found my middle ground between the extreme of self-development and what all the people in self-development view as the other side, the people who drift and don't do anything throughout their life. However, there's plenty of people who aren't in self-development that aren't drifting either. And so to say that somebody who isn't in self-development isn't developing themselves is faulty. And I want to mention again on, finding your middle ground. This is polarity in action. You have to go between your antisocial and your social life, and you have to mix and match them the way that it works out throughout your entire schedule. It's antisocial as in, when you're studying, like things you just don't do socially compared to, your love life, going out, hanging out, doing things. You have to learn how to balance your income and all your expenses. It's this light and dark battle, so to speak. And so you have to find your middle ground. And being too extreme can have you unbalanced. Now, it's not to say that we need to be perfectly in the middle. No, we just need to decide on where we stand on the scale. And a lot of people that stand too far over here will never see this side way over here. And if you want to, you're going to have to go between them. You see, with this polarity thing, there's bad news people and good news people. You don't want to be the bearer of bad news, because people will usually put that anger on you, or you become a stem off of it. And you see, this is what a lot of the very far self-development crowd is doing, and except they're just going the opposite route. They're giving you a bunch of good news, and so you try something, you fail, and then you succeed, and then you put that last success on them for helping you. It's what these people are kind about. Oh, it's all about self-development. You got to go get the books. It's like, I already do read the books, and then not just every single one that's coming out either. But the thing is that people always put their experiences onto things. This is called a psychological association. It's like when somebody is telling you over and over that you can do it, this and that, you can do it, this and that, and then you actually do it, and you put it on them like, oh, they did this, but really it was you. Now, however, people help. We're not just the only person on earth. Everybody's paths are intertwined, so to speak. But if you're going to be following the whole self-development crowd, do not put your success on the last person who told you could do it. And a lot of people do this, and it's almost like cult leaders. But are the associations bad? You see, to them, the association is correct. And see, I've mentioned before that all truth is based on perspective. But what if your perspective was 3 times 3 equals 4? Would that perspective matter anymore? You see, you'd say no. And so let's change it. Truth is based in knowledge. You don't really know that 3 times 3 equals 4 or whatever I said. You know that 3 times 3 is 9. That truth is based in the knowledge of understanding multiplication. You see, and even math has this polarity. You see, you've got addition and subtraction. And then you've got the stem up of that polarity. You've got multiplication and division. You've got the other octave up. You've got square roots and exponents. And you're going to notice this throughout life. And so I want to help you find your middle ground in all things. And now I want to say again, the middle ground is not the middle. It can be way over here. It can be way over here. It can be kind of slightly a quarter of the way there. It doesn't matter. But you need to put it where you desire it to be. Because when the scales aren't where you want it to be, that's when people run into trouble, especially when it comes to self-development. But either way, truth is based in knowledge. That's the new thing, okay? So we're going to go with it. But what is knowledge based in? Other than things that can be proven, measured, factual things? Well, first, to get to the conclusion of those factual things that have been found, it was through experience. It was through repetition and test. You see, knowledge is based and tested through experience. But isn't your experience also based on your perspective? What your perspective is dictates your experience. You see, two people can be in the same room and experience something completely different. And so back to the first thing, when we were saying all truth is based on perspective. And so whether you want to say it's based in perspective or whether it's based in knowledge, it all comes back and follows to the same thing. You see, experience and perspective go hand in hand. They're a loop in themselves. If they're at odds, you don't work efficiently. Your experience goes into your perspective. You see, if you keep experiencing bad relationships, your perspective on the next relationship could be a bad relationship. You see, if you've just seen your friends have bad relationships over and over again, you could have a perspective that you're going to have a bad relationship, and then that would dictate your experience. It's a feedback loop. And so, with this, and whatever you're doing, because as I've mentioned, law of attraction is pseudoscience. And so, I'm not trying to say that, self-development or the psychological things that they base it on are not true. I'm just saying it's pseudoscience. But now I want you to find your middle ground between science and pseudoscience. Because technically with belief, technically with placebo, won't it work anyways? The result will come. Whether or not it was what you said it was, or what you thought it was, or what others told you it was. Does it matter that the wind blows or that the tree is moving? But enough about the pseudoscience and science. That's just to help people that have messaged me before about kind of picking apart things, and they get stuck in the logical side or they get stuck in the far illogical side, and they're talking about all kinds of crazy shit. But you see, this video is just knowledge based on my experience in this moment of time. And as we've said before, that time kind of intermeshes with change. And so, just like in the very, 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 very first video I made called Why Watch This, I mentioned that I may come back and correct myself. And so with this video, I may even come back and correct myself. Always be testing your knowledge. Always be testing whatever you're working with. Don't listen to people who say it's real. Don't listen to people who say it's not real. Do it yourself, record results, and always be trying to correct yourself. And until I come back and do that to this video, I will for you all to prosper and have a great day.